Well, the dollar bubble burst. You've probably been hearing a lot about that for over many years from Peter Schiff. Of course, he sells a lot of books and goes on a speaking circuit and all that type of stuff. And, of course, those books generated a lot of money for about the dollar bubble burst and the fall of the United States and all that type of stuff. And, what kind of money they were generated in U.S. dollars. Hey! But I just want to tell you something else. I've been saying this, but I don't really have the same message as the alternative media per se. When something does go in the bubble, it does be quite obvious. And, it's almost like, hey, we have a multi-year high in the dollar index right now. It's at over 11-year high. And first time, if you look over here, today, this is on Kitco, dollar broke the 100 index. So it hasn't done that in a hell of a long time. I don't know, 91, 92, Bill Clinton years or something like that, or whatever the hell it was. Long time ago, man. And now you see the Dow going down, but it was up yesterday and all this kind of garbage. And, it's almost like you really don't know where the hell things are going to be going exactly, all the time. But, I have to say that the one obvious fact is when something's in a bubble, it becomes like, well, most people start thinking it's safe. That's what happens. What do you give the examples of the housing market? Oh, in 2006, 2005, you can't lose on housing. It's been going up. And that's kind of like the same attitude that's going on with the dollar. You better invest in dollars. But, say in 2005, that would look smart with the housing. And you go through all 2005, wow, it's even doing better. It's even doing better in 2006. Then the bottom falls out in early 2007. And that's typical of what happens in anything like, well, that's happened in silver, didn't it? Didn't it? When it broke through 20 back in 2010. Then it broke through 30 back in 2010, late 2010. And then it broke through 40 early 2011. And you're saying, whoa! And you know what else was going on back even in before that? We used to think the euro was the safety. The dollar's going out the freaking window. Remember that? Back in early 2008. The euro was the safety. Now, what is the euro like? I don't know, what is it? Less than $1.10 buys you a euro. Before it was what? 150, over 150 at a time, 156 or something. Back in early 2008. That's what I'm saying. It's not like the dollar's going to go oblivion, but it's a cycle. And, actually Mark Farber alluded to a lot of this stuff, too, because, the banksters all talk to each other, man. They take turns freaking saying, your currency's going to do this and your currency's going to do that. And, anytime you're looking at something going up, 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 especially with a currency, not a stock ticker, but, you can think of a currency as a stock ticker if you want to understand demand. But the thing is, it's almost like there's the blue chip stock ticker currencies. Yes, I think the dollar is going to lose its importance in the world as the world reserve currency, but it's not going to lose all of its importance in the world. It's still going to be an important currency of maybe several currencies. That's probably what the ultimate goal is. It's not been happening that way in the last few years, obviously. But the thing is now that everybody's like seeing it go up for so long, it's in bubble territory because it's gotten to a height where it hasn't been in more than 11. I think it's like 13 years. Lucky 13, right? Like Friday the 13th today. Hey! Friday the 13th. Hey! But, the other thing is the world is sinking in debt. And that is deliberate. The game that they're playing is actually doing very well. The ones that are on the top that are playing the game with the central banks, they're creating as much debt everywhere, not just in governments, but in, households and individuals, small businesses, smaller corporations. And the money's being pumped in at the top. And what's happening is the top people are crushing out the middle class, the smaller people, whatever, the people that have just average wealth or maybe lower wealth. And they're buying up hard assets for pennies on a dollar. That's actually what I think is going on with the oil deal. Besides crushing out Russia, you know what's going to happen? I think the oil is going to go way the hell up, actually. Even though it's been going down, I think after they crush out a lot of these smaller shale oil industries, all the capital expenditures are going to be there. Everything's going to be in place, the equipment. Oh, some big Wall Street highfalutin yo-yo is going to be buying that up for pennies for the dollar. And it'll have a major conflict in the Middle East, and it'll go right through the freaking roof. Because the only place in the world right now where oil can be get extracted profitably right now is in Saudi. I mean, if you're looking at what's going on in Australia, they got loads of oil, loads of it. Actually, they got 40 times the amount of reserves, the reserves that they thought they had, right? But the thing is, it's how do you extract it? They're not going to be able to extract it at $40 a barrel. Canadian tar sands does pretty good because once the capital expenditures are up front, they don't have that much extraction cost but in shale oil operations, the capital expenditures are more ongoing, so they're a little bit higher. So you can't have prices this low, and the other thing is there's going to be less production on the side. But speaking of bubbles, the only bubbles that are actually going on that are probably in a positive note is the cloning bubbles. This is the official Bill Clinton cloning station bubble of making girls and women and to his whatever his desires are. I'm going to say that, actually looking back, deja vu, I wouldn't really vote for Bill Clinton, but, I can tell you one thing. Deja vu, man, considering that Hillary's looks like the front runner for the Democratic people, and she's too big to fail, believe it or not. Hillary's too big to fail for the Democrats, right? It's a matter of, they're going to whitewash all this garbage with, the emails, and, they'll push it under the rug, just like Benghazi and all the billions of dollars she got in her contributions for her things. And I'm like thinking to myself, man, people are worried about Obama for a third term. I mean, right now, I'd be like taking Obama, even for, I don't want anybody for a third term, but I take Bill Clinton for a third term because, to tell you the truth, if we stuck together, I read one thing with Bill, even though, well, I don't really disagree with him all the way. It's just that he took technology and went over to China and stuff. I don't give a damn about his broads and his weed. Whatever. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. It's just that he gave a lot of technology to China. It's probably going to blow us up. But, one thing, I just got to ad lib on here. One thing I liked about this guy, first off, we got stuck with this national health care garbage. This guy, if he was in office again, not the wife, for, whatever she is, the partner, or maybe I'll put it that way, the partner in crime. The thing is, he would actually, if anything, if we got behind this guy, he'd be all for medicinal marijuana, 100% legal everywhere. As a matter of fact, the problem is he'd probably get killed by the pharmaceutical industry or some crap. But the other thing is, maybe he'd allow us all to grow hemp instead, and we'd have a hemp industry instead of a shale oil industry that could fuel all the cars and also provide the food and everything else, because we got a lot of problems coming up with the growing seasons with the, mini ice age coming. Actually, deja vu, man, I kind of like this guy in a lot of ways. But, one thing, too, I remember, too, about Bill. On a person-to-person, this is an endorsement because he's not running, and I don't like Hillary at all. I mean, she's bad news. And, I know the Secret Service used to have to, I remember this, it was somebody who told me this that was basically knew the stuff on the inside. The Secret Service used to have to protect Bill Clinton from Hillary Clinton's flying ashtrays. You know that? Do you know that? I'm serious, man. But this guy, on a one-to-one, he was good with the Secret Service. You want to know how their families did? I remember when those three soldiers, I remember this very specifically. I said, that tells me a little bit about this guy's character. He's got character flaws, and I'm kind of divergent on here, but I'm telling you, there was three soldiers that got captured in Bosnia way back, right? He says, I don't want anything to happen with those soldiers. You know, they got roughed up and beat up a little, you know, because that's what happens when you become a POW. It's kind of like screwed up, but that's what happens, right? I don't want that, and he got him back. This guy on a 1-to-1 would be, well, problem is the elite got him by the balls, and the other thing is he's fine with that because he's power hungry. But, you know, if he realizes the power's with the people, this guy would be all right. He would be all right. You know? Marijuana, Bill Clinton, and bubbles, clones grown in bubbles. You know, that would be the deal. But as far as what's going on with the dollar, it's in a bubble itself. And that's where, see, people never realize the bubble. That's almost like an axiom. You know, I don't want to say like, you know, I know Peter Schiff's been talking about the dollar's going away. You know, he's almost talking like the dollar's going to go to oblivion, you know. No. You know, that's bullshit. But, you know, the thing is, we got cycles. You know, at one time, the euro looked like it. Commodities looked like it back in early 2008. Oh, God. You know, then what happened? The bottom fell out of everything, right? Actually, what's weird is that I'm still expecting the stock markets to crash because the commodities crashed. And fundamentally, you can't have a hot economy and have low-priced commodities at the same time. It's impossible. You can't have demand for all goods in production and have very low oil prices. Yeah, we got an oil glut. How do we have an oil glut if all these shale oil industries, which is where most of the oil glut is coming from, supposedly, are going under now? They're starting to go under. Like I said, I think the Wall Street just wants this to happen temporarily, so they buy them up cheap, and then they got the operations, and the price just goes right through the roof, and then they're sitting in the driver's seat reaping all the rewards. Actually, that's what they're doing with the debt situation with the world. They're sinking the entire planet in debt. Why? Which includes not just, you know, anybody's invested in government debt is probably going to have a problem. I know not Jim Rogers, Mark Farber talked about the blue chip stocks. He thinks they'll be doing better. I says, I don't want to hold any kind of government debt. Forget about it. Government bonds. I don't know where that's going. He's right. I mean, I think he's 110% right. The blue chip stocks, in other words, you say it's paper. Like Lindsey Williams would tell you that's paper. That's not just paper. That's a representation. It's like, you know, paper is paper, but then again, you actually own a share of a company that is actually producing something, goods and services that are truly needed by people. You've got blue chip stocks in organic farming. You know, that's going to go away because it's a piece of paper. What are you kidding me? No, because the farming, it represents the farming. You know, but a piece of paper that represents sovereign debt, yeah, that can go away. You know, so, but you know, I just want to say that everybody's been fooled by bubbles all along, including silver people and gold people. We had a commodities bubble in 2008. It was a bubble and it burst. It's obvious. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be another bubble in commodities, in silver and gold and oil. That's the key word, bubble. Because when it goes up, you're going to be telling you, there's going to be a lot of people out there telling you the dollar's going to oblivion to nothing. And, you know, it's going to be really tough to figure how high is high. Because, you know, when you're thinking the dollar got up to 88, it was like, whoa, man. You know, on the index, you're thinking that's high. And now it's 100. And that's the thing, how silver's going to fake you out. You might sell too early. I probably would, you know. I mean, I don't know. I'm doing piecemeal. But, you know, I'm not going to listen to people that are going to tell me the dollar's going to oblivion and hold silver at all costs. But you should be holding silver right now when it looks bad. You know, when it looks bad, you know, and, you know, the thing is you don't want to be trading all your dollars for silver either. You know, that's the other deal because that's another misnomer these yo-yos put out. But I just want to, you know, just reiterate this, you know, the basic concept where I'm coming from. And one of the deals is probably in the future, it's not going to be a matter of switching for a currency when you get rid of silver. You want to switch for a hard asset that's productive. And, you know, one of the things, too, might be what Jim Rogers talked about, which is farming or organic farming, because I think he's 100% right about, food shortages and because of global population. Also, the fact that most people don't want to be farmers. They want to be jet setters that sit in offices and don't do anything. Whatever. They don't want to do auto body repair like Pete over there in Southwest Rod and Custom and the DIY Auto Channel. They're too lazy to do that. They don't want to get dirty. They don't want to get under the car. That's the office pogues, man. But anyway, and the other thing is maybe hemp will be allowed to be grown again. Maybe marijuana for medicinal purposes, right? Bill, you need to be the czar of the agricultural industry here, man. I mean, I think that's be kind of cool position for him. I really don't dislike this guy. The only thing that totally pissed me off about Bill was when that it wasn't even all the other scandals. It was that. And I'm going to tell you what it was, even though I don't know if it's provable or something, provable, but it was like the campaign contributions for missile technology that went to China. God, man, that freaking pissed me off. And, if he's listening to this, he's not listening to this, but if you did, I'm going to tell you, that pissed me off, man. Otherwise, this guy's not so screwed up. Because all the other stuff these Christians get all bent out of shape about, I'm like, so what? Who cares? I don't care. And actually, most people don't care. But he'd be the health czar doing a jogging, and I mean, for crying out loud, man. I mean, we need some kind of leadership in this country again, and we kind of lost it with Obama, man. I hate to say it. I don't know what the deal is with Obama, man. I mean, I don't really dislike him too much, but deja vu. Bill looks head and shoulders above Obama. And what I'm looking for on the horizon here is Bill's wife, Hillary, the partner. Oh, my God. That is the worst possible choice, and I'm thinking, what's the deal is? The Democrats are behind her because she's too big to fail. She actually is too big to fail. And the Republicans look like they're leaning towards Jeb Bush. To me, that almost guarantees Hillary's going to win. If they didn't put up Jeb Bush and they got somebody that was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not too big of a fan of Rand Paul, but I definitely vote for that guy. I mean, I think they're kind of like false conservative, whatever the hell that means. But, I'm not a conservative or a liberal, man. I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm middle of the road. I just don't like when people are knocking our nation so much and all its faults. And, when they're not looking at how bad things are on the other side of the world, whereas we could just roll up our sleeves and fix the problem. And I think part of the thing is we need to actually stick with the basics, and the basics is silver. It's not just a matter of, silver and bubble girls or clone bubble girls or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, this is the official Bill Clinton cloning station. That's how they make the clones. Anyway, but the thing is, if you ever listen to that Donald Marshall crackhead, whatever the hell his name is, I already determined. If you ever heard that guy Donald Marshall, I already determined he's full of it. Anyway, but even though he's saying some things that are maybe right, but he's basically full of it. But the thing is, we don't recognize a bubble because and the reason is you don't recognize it because the bubble goes far more than you think. That's what's going to be really tricky about silver. And I'm like, wow. When it does go up, it's probably going to go up to some stupid number that's not supposed to go up to. And it's not going to go there like a normal way. It's going to go up there more like this graph. It's a crash, crash, crash. Then it goes, crash, nosedive, and settles down. That's what sucks about it, and it's like nobody in the world can actually predict this damn thing. But the thing is, when you're holding physical silver, you're a lot better off because you're not at the bequest of, the suits. Because you know what they'll do. If your brokerage account just went, or some crap like that, or whatever. I'm just saying, if you're one of those John Corazine deals or something, right? If your brokerage account went kablooey, they'll just like, ooh, you know, what can I do about it? I was a victim too. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? That's why I need to go old school all the way. So anyway, just want to give you a little bit of an update here real quick because, I know what the talk is, and I don't really agree with, well, it's not I agree, I'm giving you a middle-of-the-road type opinion because I know the major media is full of it, but I also know there's a lot of alternative yo-yos out there just trying to, they're connected with silver bullion dealers and they're selling books and stuff and they're trying to sell doom and gloom. But I don't really think it's doom and gloom. I just think it's a cycle, and we're at one end of the cycle. So this ain't the time to sell silver. But there will be a time, and you don't want to sell it for another currency. You want to sell it for another hard asset. And if you're not lazy, the best thing would probably to do is to sell it for farmland and roll up your sleeves and do a hell of a lot of work. That would be the deal. So, and hopefully Bill will be our farm czar with, medical marijuana, industrial hemp, and our health czar with jogging. So, and he can, whatever. I don't mind that guy too much. The partner, oh, hell no. Anyway, that's all I got to say.